sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live from the UDL. One of my favorites, man, Jim Nickel, who has been
becoming my favorite.
Yes, you see the life that my man leads. Woo. He is he's the best from Corson Nickel, and you may know him as the spotter on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Yep. We tricked him this morning. We told him to come in and talk Masters. In fact, he's going to tell us everything that's going on between the LSU and the Senate hearing. But you didn't like that. That laugh was.
No, we can hit it all.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's all fair game.
Tell me about the Masters. You've been to the Masters, and you've done a lot of cool things in your life. And the Masters is right up there at the top, huh?
I'd say it's top 2 or 3. I guess I'm supposed to say my marriage and the birth of my children. So I'll get that out of the way. But, no, we were talking about it during the break. It's just so well run and so subtle in its approach to having a very, very amazing golf tournament. Of course, the grounds are pristine and the place is beautiful, but they just think of everything there, and it's just a special experience. And I've only gone twice on Thursday, Friday. They tell you the weekend is pretty crowded, and for a guy of my lack of stature, I probably wouldn't see much. So I went on Thursday, Friday. But yeah, very special. Highly recommend, even if you're not a golfer. Highly recommend you do it once in your life. It's a special place.
We're definitely gonna do it. I saw Dwayne Wade was out at the at Augusta National. Yeah. Yesterday. It attracts the A-listers, not only from the sporting arena, but from all over.
Well, and COVID has done so much for golf. I mean, the game was really slowly dying, and COVID forced a lot of people outside, a lot of free time, and I think golf has seen a resurgence because of that. And so, it's become more popular, and the Masters is a benefit of that. And it's a different course this weekend than it was in November. It's a lot faster, a lot hotter. Those greens are blazing, and they may get some rain this weekend. It'll soften it up, but it's going to be a must-watch thing this weekend.
That sub-air system is going to be humming if it starts raining.
Yes.
You have a reputation up at the state capitol for getting just about any answer that you're looking for. Very proud of our boy, Representative John Stefanski, for keeping a secret, as he has really been the only one up at the Capitol. Maybe Jesse McCormick, who knew the whereabouts of the undisclosed location. I know that you've been searching for this outside.
I'm
trying to get it from the top source, but he's kept quiet.
He has. That's a fellow Crowley boy. I mean, he and I grew up in Crowley. We're part of the Crowley Mafia. You would think he would tell me. No way. Lips were sealed. Asked him 3 times. He would not tell me where this was, and I'm going to keep a secret too.
I love that. Tell me from your point of view, somebody that understands so much about the Capitol, the position that Stefanski holds in the committee chair for the committee that he sits on. I know that the respect and reputation that holds within the state capitol.
Well, John's relatively new to the legislature, but his talent, like you would see in sports, I never forget. Chief came to my house. John Chavis came to my house the freshman year at Turan Matthew that August. We were barbecuing after practice one day with Dr. Bankston, and I said, "Chief, who is 14? He's the smallest guy out there." He goes, "He's our best player." I said, "What?" He goes, "He's our best player." I said, "That little number
Patrick
14?
Peterson was on that team."
Yeah. He goes, "He's the best player we have." And he was.
Yeah.
And John got to the legislature, and immediately his talent by working together with people in both parties, his intelligence rose to the top. I think he's a trusted member of the speaker's inner circle. And so, he'll be very, very important to getting the sports gaming bill passed and making sure we can have people be able to bet on sports, mobile and otherwise. And I'm sure you want to talk about that. But John's a superstar on the rise.
He is. And let's start with LSU. As I mentioned, you are the spotter for the LSU Sports Radio Network. Mm-hmm. You have a great relationship with the university. And right now there is there's obviously legislators that are asking for some answers up there. From your point of view, what is going on with the state university?
This is probably one of the most critical times in LSU's history. LSU is a public institution. If you were a private company, if you were Microsoft and you were going through this, you would have a PR situation. You would ride it out and hope your stock bounces back in 8 months. LSU doesn't have that luxury. They are funded by the state. They need the state's support to be a flagship, and the state and the legislature is expecting things to be resolved. And so I think they have an excellent plan moving forward with Title IX. They have, I think, Scott Woodward and the team that's in place has done a good job of, I think, convincing the state leadership that they have a plan. But there's still some people at the Capitol that want to know more about the past. They suspect things are not completely being revealed. And so I think LSU has a little bit more to go to get over this political hump. And we're all trying to help them. I mean, I don't think there's anything more important in this state other than your family and your church. LSU's right up there. It's a very, very, to me personally and professionally, an important thing, and we got to get this right. And I think if they don't, it's not going to be good.
I saw Regina Barrow, Senator Barrow, who is the head of the Women and Children's Committee.
Correct.
That was requesting the presence of the employees from LSU to give their testimony. And then once they sent in written testimony, she replied with possibly seeking a subpoena from the legislator's standpoint to a university that is funded by the state. What is the relationship, and what is the expectation, I guess, from?
Well, first of all, it's
side?
extremely extreme. I've been doing this. Well, I've been in politics for a long time, but I've been lobbying for 22 years. I've never seen a legislative committee have to subpoena someone. People usually come. I think that's part of the frustration of the legislature, that they think they may have to get to that point. Now, this lawsuit by Miss Lewis, Sharon Lewis, complicates things, because if you've ever been sued, your lawyer tells you to shut up. So everybody's got to be quiet for a little while. But I don't think we'll get to the point of the subpoenas being issued. I think the legislature and the leadership there is ready to sit down with LSU and get more answers, whether that's in a public forum or private forum, and I'm hoping we can get past that. But that is a very, very serious matter. Senator Barrow is very serious about getting answers. The women in the legislature, along with a lot of men, want more answers.
Jim Nickel, Corson Nickel, one of the great representation and government lobby firms that you will find here in our state, joining us here at the undisclosed location with legislative session set to begin next week. What's at the top of the agenda when you talk about next week's session? I know Stefanski, when he was here, when the representative was here, we talked a lot about gambling and gaming and where it fit into the sports conversation. But from your standpoint, what are some of the headline issues?
Yeah, normally it's a budget thing. We fight about money, but there's so much federal money flowing in here, it becomes a fight about how to spend it. So I don't think the budget's going to be a huge issue. I think there's a single tax collection issue that I'm sure your listeners will fall asleep if I describe it, so I'll just pass over that. But it's an important issue to business. I think the sports gaming bill is going to be a dominant issue because it was overwhelmingly supported by the people of Louisiana. They want to do it legally. Some of us are doing it illegally. So let's make it legal. Let's make it safe. Let's make it reliable for people. And so I think the battle will be, how much is it taxed? Is it mobile? Is it not mobile? Are people going to be able to have kiosks? Are people going to have to go somewhere to do it? I think the president of the Senate and Representative Stefanski are very committed to a mobile solution. New York just passed full mobile. And so I think it's a generational thing, Jordy. I think you probably see it in your business. What you're doing with this show is cutting edge. It's the latest thing, and it's what's going to be in the future. I think we have legislators who don't quite comprehend that it is safe to do it on your phone. We can verify your age. We can verify your identity. I mean, we bank on our phones. We do everything else on our phones. So we have to do a good job of educating legislators. Kids aren't going to be able to do it. People aren't going to be able to steal your identity. It's a safe way to do it. And the reality is if we don't do mobile, people like me are just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and that is doing it illegally mobile. Right? I'm not going to get up and drive somewhere, and then the in-game betting is the fastest, right? I mean, you want to bet, is Phil Mickelson going to birdie this hole? You want to bet if Drew Brees is retired. You want to bet if Tom Brady's going to throw a touchdown on this drive. And the only way you can have that in-game action, I think, is to have a mobile device. You're not going to get up every time you're at walk-ons and go to the kiosk and say, let me bet whether or not the Saints are going to kick a field goal. So, but it's up to us to educate people that it can be done well.
From the standpoint of the games and the discussions of what's happening at the legislative sector, at that section of the discussion, what is the outlook of sports? What is the outlook of what sports will look like next year in our community? Do you anticipate a full Tiger Stadium? Do you anticipate things back to, I guess normal is the term that everybody goes to, but some sense of normalcy?
I do. I think if we can keep up our vaccine rate, I think we'll be back in Tiger Stadium and back in the PMAC and doing that. Yes, I do. I think the governor's very committed to doing that. I mean, I don't have to tell you how important tourism is to our economy. It's probably the fourth largest part of our economy. We got to get people back here. We got to have a jazz fest. We got to have the French Quarter rolling. We got to have the Final Four in New Orleans.
Yeah.
We got to have the Crawfish Festival. Those things are important.
Can you give me an idea of the effect of missing that 1 year and what it truly does and did to our state? I know that it was all because in keeping the safety and health concerns up to alert, but missing those opportunities for our state, what was the ramification?
Well, they were significant financially. We were just lucky that the federal government sent us a bunch of money because, if you think of the pillars of our economy, oil and gas was down a lot. People just weren't going anywhere, so the price of gas, price of oil was down. Gaming is the second largest contributor to our state budget. Casinos were closed or at 25% capacity. And then tourism was shut down, hotel, motel taxes. It was Louisiana is very dependent on visitors. We need people to come here and party, and people like to come here and party.
Yeah.
So we got to be open.
I was in New Orleans last weekend, and there was a buzz about the city. I mean, the weather was great; it was phenomenal. But the French Quarter looked as if it was a spring of years past.
Oh, dude, I was there 2 weeks ago. My daughter's getting married. I had a bachelor weekend there. Thank you. And I had 25-year-olds in the French Quarter. I was freaking out. But the bars were closing at 11, so that was one good thing about COVID.
Wow, that sounds like a party.
Yeah, it was. But I agree with you. The French Quarter, I mean,
it was back. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it felt back. The buzz was there. I mean, it just.
Now, I don't know how much of that stimulus check money just flowing, but it may not last. That's why, and I think those were a lot of locals that you and I saw.
Just people getting out the house.
Correct. And I think we got to open up. Frenchman Street's open now, so you can go listen to some music. So we're getting there.
Tell me the task of redistricting. Well, I mean, just when you say that out loud, that seems like just a hell of a responsibility, but then you only do it once a decade. What's the purpose and what is the task? What is that responsibility?
So you got to figure out how many representatives you have based on population. So if Baton Rouge gets bigger, which it did a little bit, it'll have more members of the legislature than, let's say, Shreveport, which has lost population, or Monroe, which has lost population. I don't want to know the number, but it's a significant number. It's over 55% of the people in Louisiana live south of I-10 or I-12. So when that happens, you have more representatives from those areas. So John's job is to figure out, from a population standpoint, Stefanski, how do we draw these districts so that people like us who live in Baton Rouge get the representation we deserve because we have more people here. And you have to do it at every level. You have to redistrict the Baton Rouge Council, the New Orleans Council. You have to redistrict the Calcasieu Police Jury. You got to redistrict the legislature. You got to redistrict the Supreme Court. You got to redistrict the Congress. I mean, it's a big deal, and it's important. And that's why the census is so important, because all your federal dollars are based on population. So the amount of highway money we get, the amount of health care money we get, the amount of money we get for anything from the federal government is based on how many people live here. And so when you don't participate in the census, you're kind of screwing yourself.
How much is marijuana taking up time this legislative session?
I think it'll take up a significant amount, because I think there's going to be a big push to just go ahead and decriminalize. And I think that's going to be a fight. I think the polling numbers are significant that people support it. Law enforcement's going to come down there, I think, and try to scare people. I'm not sure it's going to work anymore. It's worked in the past. Another generational thing, 10 years ago, older legislators just couldn't put their head around it. The younger ones are there now, and thankfully, that's what we need, young guys and gals in there. I think it's got a chance.
What's the process of regulating the medicinal supply?
Well, there's a lot of complaints. There's not enough. They're not producing enough. People aren't able to get it. I think last year they legalized inhalers for people, and people aren't able to get it. And so I think that's part of the reason why you're going to see a push for decriminalization is people aren't getting it as they need it when they're sick. Now, I don't know the long-term prospects of the marijuana industry. I think it'll be solid, but a friend of mine gave me a good quote. He said, they call it weed for a reason. You can grow that You can grow that stuff
on YouTube. You know what I mean? Yeah, go ahead.
You can grow that shit anyway. So, I've been told. I wouldn't know. But
welcome to the UDL, Jimmy.
So I think
right behind you.
I think there'll always be a good business for it. Obviously, we see it in Colorado for growing certain buds and having different strengths and things of that nature. But there'll come a time when people just grow it at home.
Yeah, absolutely. LSU football seems like they're going to be pretty good. That's
I'm
one
a
of
little
the
nervous about the running back situation. We don't have a real healthy running back right now. I'd like to see what happens in spring. I know we've got a good one coming in, a real good one, a couple of good ones coming in.
Yeah, 2 good ones.
So we'll see. But, I like the defense being all back and being, seasoned. I think that's good. I think Coach O is smart not to say things like the defense is going to be better than ever and that kind of thing. It's a learning process for him as well. But, I feel real good about it. I really do. And I'm excited about the UCLA game. I think hopefully California's open and we're all out there. We'll be doing this show from an undisclosed location, maybe at the Playboy Mansion or something.
Well, you would be the one that could make that
I'm going to go hook you up. As long as I get a segment.
Well, you can be a co-host if you make that happen. Give me a winner for the Masters before you get out of here. Who you like?
Wow,
I
think this
7. You got a 4-strike
man.
lead
I like that guy. I like that guy a lot, but I just don't know how you hold on to it. I like Kola Marikawa. He's kind of tucked back there, but he's real consistent and really good. And I think he could sneak up and win it. But I think it's anybody's turn. I think Patrick Reed.
Yeah,
I mean,
Booger
love him or don't love him.
Yeah,
he's really good. He played right there at Augusta College, and he knows that course, and he's steady. So I would give him a chance as well. But just the first day, so we got a long way to go.
Thank you for everything, man.
Thank y'all.
Great to see you.
Congratulations on the show.
Yes,
I
sir.
love it. Watch
Thank
it,
you.
and all the best to you guys, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Jim Nickel. Corson Nickel is the representation firm that you can find up there, one of the great government relations firms in our state. He's also the spotter for LSU football and the LSU Sports Radio Network. So very well connected within the state of Louisiana and always looking out for the best in our state, giving us a little tidbits of what to watch out for with next week's legislative session on the horizon. Ben Mintz stopping by next from Barstool Sports here on the Jordy Culotta Show, which is brought to you daily by RMB Builders. Remember, Rhett Bourgeois and RMB Builders. Custom make you a home. They can help you with commercial. They got their commercial license, 9217062, or online at rmb-builders.com.